My name is Gloria Morgan, and this is my story. My best friend married my ex, then she desperately wanted my help. Before I continue, please subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and also like and share my videos. Thank you. I remember the smell of roses, bitterly ironic, considering they were meant for my engagement party. Everything was perfect that evening in Atlanta. My fiancé, Daniel, the man I had loved for 5 years, had promised me forever. My best friend, Sabrina, stood by my side, laughing, helping with last-minute touches. She knew every detail of my relationship, my fears, my dreams, my secrets. But when Daniel didn't show up that night, I knew something was wrong. Hours later, a single message shattered me. "I'm sorry, Gloria. This isn't what I want anymore." 2 weeks later, pictures of Daniel and Sabrina holding hands surfaced on social media, smiling, radiant, and unapologetic. The same Sabrina who once cried on my shoulder about her cheating ex. I wanted to hate them, but all I could do was stare at the screen, feeling my world collapse. Betrayal has a sound, like glass breaking inside your chest. That night, something inside me changed. I didn't know it then, but that was the day I stopped being the victim. After the betrayal, I vanished. No calls, no texts. I deleted every trace of them, changed my number, quit my job in Atlanta, and drove west until I ran out of tears somewhere outside Dallas, Texas. For months, I lived quietly, waitressing at a small cafe. People there knew me as Gloria Lynn, not Gloria Morgan, the heartbroken woman from Atlanta who lost her fiancé to her best friend. But while I rebuilt myself, I watched them rise. Sabrina became an influencer, flaunting her perfect marriage online. Daniel launched a real estate company, funded partly with the money we once saved together for our future. It burned, but I stayed silent. Revenge wasn't about shouting. It was about timing. When I enrolled in a real estate certification program, I told myself it was for a fresh start. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. I wasn't just rebuilding my life. I was preparing to reclaim what was stolen from me. 3 years later, I returned to Los Angeles, where Daniel and Sabrina had relocated. By then, I had become one of the top independent real estate consultants in Texas, known for my negotiation skills and quiet power. When a luxury firm in LA offered me a partnership, I accepted. What they didn't know was that my first target client lived right there, the Morgans Luxury Estates. Owned by Daniel, managed by Sabrina. The day I saw them again, it felt like standing in front of ghosts. Sabrina looked perfect, polished, poised, and hollow. Daniel seemed tired. The sparkle that once charmed me was gone. They didn't recognize me immediately, not until I smiled. That same smile she used to say could light up a room. Her eyes widened. Daniel froze. "Gloria?" she whispered. "It's Gloria Lynn now," I replied, shaking her hand. "And I believe I can help you save your company." From that moment, I was inside their world again, this time on my terms. Their company was sinking fast. Unpaid debts, legal threats, and a silent investor pulling out. They were desperate. I played my part, professional, efficient, quietly sympathetic. Daniel avoided my eyes, guilt eating at him. Sabrina overcompensated with smiles and fake warmth. One night, she poured me wine and sighed. "You have no idea how hard marriage can be," she murmured. I wanted to laugh. Instead, I sipped slowly and whispered, "Maybe you married the wrong man." The silence that followed told me everything I needed to know. They weren't just losing their company. They were losing each other. When Sabrina called me 2 weeks later, her voice trembled. "Gloria, please." Daniel's investor backed out. "If we don't find someone new, we'll lose everything." Everything in me screamed yes. This was it. I met with them in their half-empty office. "I might know an investor," I said, sliding a folder across the table. "But there's one condition. I want controlling interest." Daniel frowned. "That's absurd." Sabrina grabbed his arm. "We don't have a choice." And just like that, the tables turned. The same people who once destroyed me were now asking for my help, signing papers that would give me the power to destroy them legally. The moment they signed those papers, everything changed. I became the silent owner of the Morgans' luxury estates. They thought I was their savior, but I was the storm coming for everything they built on my pain. I watched Sabrina host staff meetings, pretending to lead, while I quietly redirected their accounts, cleaned up debts, and replaced their suppliers with my own contacts. Daniel barely spoke during meetings. I could sense the cracks widening, business failing, marriage rotting. Late one night, I overheard them arguing in the office. "You wanted this," Daniel shouted. "You said Gloria would fix it. Don't you dare blame me," Sabrina hissed. "You're the one who can't close a deal anymore." I smiled to myself. Their empire was collapsing from the inside. I secured a major client, a luxury housing project in Beverly Hills. But I didn't give it to the Morgans estates under their name. Instead, I registered a new division under Gloria Lynn Holdings. Sabrina didn't notice at first. She was too busy posting fake photos on Instagram, pretending business was booming. Daniel looked exhausted, lost. At the contract signing, the client turned to Sabrina and said, "We're thrilled to partner with Ava Lynn Holdings." Her face turned pale. That was the first time she realized the company name wasn't hers anymore. "Wait, Gloria Lynn Holdings?" she stammered. I smiled calmly. "Yes. A necessary restructuring. You agreed to it in the papers." The look on her face was priceless, the beginning of her realization. That night, I went home and opened an old box, the one filled with photos of me, Daniel, and Sabrina in happier times. I stared at a picture from college. All smiles, holding coffee cups, dreaming of our futures. I whispered, "You took my future, so I rewrote it." For the first time in years, I didn't cry. I felt peace, cold, powerful peace. But deep down, I wondered if revenge would ever be enough. Then my phone buzzed. It was Sabrina. "Gloria, Daniel's been drinking. He's losing it. Can you talk to him?" I almost laughed. Talk to the man who broke me? But I answered anyway. His voice was slurred, broken. "Gloria, I made a mistake." My silence was his answer. I hired a forensic accountant under the guise of a restructuring review. In truth, I wanted to see how deep their corruption ran. The results were worse than I imagined. Daniel had been embezzling funds, hiding losses, and faking client reports. Sabrina knew, but covered it up to protect their image. I smiled. Perfect. Evidence, leverage, and power all mine. I arranged a quiet meeting with my attorney. "If I pull this trigger," I said, "they'll lose everything." He nodded. "You'd walk away clean." But something stopped me. It wasn't time yet. No. First, they needed to feel the weight of what they did. The annual LA Real Estate Gala, the perfect stage. I arrived in a black gown, elegant and confident. Cameras flashed. Everyone whispered my name, Gloria Lynn, the rising star. Across the room, Sabrina watched me with envy. Daniel stared like a ghost, seeing the past come alive. When they approached, I smiled politely. "That's exactly what I needed years ago, when you took everything from me." I drove away, her reflection fading in the rearview mirror. A few weeks later, Sabrina showed up at my office, looking nothing like the glamorous woman she once was. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I don't know where else to go." I folded my hands. "I have a proposal," I said. "You can work here, as my assistant." Her face drained of color, but she accepted. She had no choice. And so, the woman who betrayed me now served me coffee every morning. At first, she tried to keep her pride, but over time, the crack showed. Watching me command boardrooms while she took notes broke her. One evening, she whispered, "You planned all this, didn't you?" I looked at her, really looked. "No, Sabrina. You planned this the day you betrayed me. I just finished what you started." Sometimes, late at night, I thought about Daniel, the man he used to be. The laughter, the late-night drives, the dreams we once shared. Then I'd remember the look on his face when he chose her over me. And my heart hardened again. Love, I realized, doesn't die. It evolves into wisdom or into revenge. Sabrina broke down one evening. "Gloria, he cheated on me too, with someone from his office." Karma doesn't miss, I said quietly. She sobbed. I thought I was happy. I thought I won. You can't win when the game starts with betrayal, I replied. Months later, she came to my office trembling. Daniel's sick. He wants to see you. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but closure whispered my name. When I entered the hospital room, Daniel looked frail, broken. I'm sorry, Gloria, he whispered. I destroyed us. I nodded slowly. No, Daniel. You destroyed yourself. I left without looking back. After that night, Sabrina stopped coming to work. I heard she sold everything and moved into a small apartment downtown. Her social media vanished. No filters. No fans. No fake smiles. Just silence. And in that silence, I found my peace. A few weeks later, I received a handwritten letter from Sabrina. You were right, it read. I lost everything trying to have what was yours. But I learned that no happiness can grow from someone else's pain. Thank you for letting me fall. It saved me. I folded the letter, tears welling in my eyes. For the first time, I didn't feel hatred. I felt release. Standing before my office window overlooking Los Angeles, I saw my reflection, strong, composed, unbroken. I realized my revenge wasn't destroying them. It was becoming everything they tried to bury. And I had done just that. Months later, I started a foundation for women recovering from betrayal and financial loss. I named it the Phoenix Project, because that's what I had become. Ashes turned to power. One morning, I got a call from a new volunteer wanting to join the Phoenix Project. Her name? Sabrina Gray. I paused, then smiled. Tell her she's welcome. Sometimes forgiveness isn't weakness. It's the final act of dominance. Daniel passed away quietly months later. No fanfare. No flowers. Sabrina attended the funeral alone. She later sent me one last message. Thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. And that's when I knew my revenge was complete. Standing on stage at a women's conference in New York, I told my story for the first time, not with bitterness, but with grace. Revenge isn't about hurting them back, I said. It's about becoming untouchable. They broke me once, but I rebuilt myself stronger. The audience stood in applause. As I smiled, I whispered to myself, justice isn't loud, it's poetic. And somewhere deep inside, I felt Daniel and Sabrina fade into history, while I stood radiant in my rebirth. Thank you for listening to my story. Please like, subscribe, and share my videos. Thank you.